Is the story of the Magi a pious myth or a mysterious possibility? Is anyone interested in what happens in the sky? Remember the last solar eclipse in 2017? We gazed into the sky with those special eclipse glasses. In fact, many Americans traveled to Carbondale, Illinois, where the total eclipse of the sun was overhead. If you have ever gazed in wonder at Halley's Comet, a shooting star, or the northern lights, it is not so far-fetched that the Magi watched the night sky for a sign and acted. The story of the Magi is still a mystery. What we know about it comes from a beautiful blend of scripture, tradition, and astronomy. Who were the Magi? Our understanding that they were kings comes from Psalm 72, which reads, "May the kings of Tarshish and of the isles render him tribute. May the kings of Sheba and Seba bring gifts. May all kings fall down before him, all nations serve him." Traditionally, the Magi are named Caspar, Melchior, and Balthasar. Each name is a derivative of a word meaning king. Caspar comes from the Latin Caesar, Melchior from the Hebrew Melach, and Balthasar from the Greek Basileus. Where did they come from? Popular art work depicts them from the three corners of the ancient world: Greece, Arabia, and Africa. This tradition follows the lineage of Noah's three sons who populated the world. Shem settled in Asia, Japheth went to Europe, and Ham came to Africa. This means the Magi represent the known world coming to worship Jesus, the true King. Pope Benedict said, "The Magi are the successors of Abraham, who set off on a journey in response to God's call. In another way, they are the successors of Socrates and his habit of questioning toward the higher truth. Most likely, the Magi were from Persia, because of their knowledge of Judaism. The Persian Empire grew in strength and eventually conquered the Babylonian Empire. This was important because the Jews were exiled in Babylon for 70 years. The Persian king Cyrus allowed them to return home to Jerusalem and assisted in rebuilding their temple. Not all the Jews returned home. Some stayed in Persia and grew in wealth and social status. This Jewish presence introduced the Persians to Judaism and the prophecies about a Messiah. In fact, within the pagan religion of the Persians, they also awaited a Messiah. Therefore, the Magi would have been very interested in an astrological sign leading them towards Bethlehem, where the Messiah was predicted in Scripture to be born. In our first reading, we hear from Isaiah, "Nations shall walk by your light, and kings by your shining radiance. Raise your eyes and look about. They all gather and come to you. Your sons come from afar." When did the Magi arrive? This requires us to figure out when Jesus was born. We celebrate his birth in December for multiple reasons, but the main one being that it lines up with the Jewish feast of Hanukkah. The temple was overrun by Greeks who worshiped Zeus on the altars. After a successful revolt, the Jews cleansed the temple and let the light of the true God in. Later, Jesus said, "I am the light of the world." Archaeological records show that indeed, a Roman census was taken up in Bethlehem in the month of December because it was a downtime for farmers. Long story short, the leading theory puts Jesus' birth at about 7 BC, because our calendar, created in the 6th century, had an error about it when Rome was founded. What did the Magi follow in the night sky? The scriptures say a star, while some artwork depicts a comet. The 17th century German astronomer and mathematician, Johannes Kepler, who studied the laws governing how planets move in orbit, provided an intriguing theory that the star may have actually been two planets. Kepler mathematically figured out that the two largest planets, Jupiter and Saturn, appeared to align in the night sky 3 times in the year 7 BC. In fact, Egyptian and Babylonian records confirm an unusually bright light from the combination of these two planets, May 29th, October 3rd, and December 5th, 7 BC. The Magi, being skilled astronomers and astrologers, would have seen this significant, because the planets are named after gods, with Jupiter being a symbol of authority and supremacy, while Saturn was regarded as the defender of Israel. Kepler's timeline works, assuming the Magi saw these planets shine on May 29th. They probably would have planned their trip during the hot summer months and left when it reappeared October 3rd, which they knew was the Jewish Day of Atonement. Travel in the desert was difficult and slow, but they would have arrived in Jerusalem just before the third appearance of the bright light on December 5th. At that point, our gospel fills in the details. Behold, the star that they had seen at its rising preceded them, until it came and stopped over the place where the child was. They were overjoyed at seeing the star, and on entering the house, they saw the child. The mysterious journey of the Magi represents our lifelong search for the truth that is completed when we find the Christ child. For St. Teresa Benedicta of the Cross said, "Whenever you seek the truth, you seek God."